So Cathal Fitz, I suppose first off, let the listeners know a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I'm a singer-songwriter from Cork. When it comes to music, I suppose I have had a bit of a strange journey with it in so that I was a personal trainer a year and a half ago. I always kind of tipped around in the guitar at home and maybe sang in the shower. And to my unsuspecting neighbours that may have banged on the door at 3 a.m. for me to stop singing at home so loudly. I gave up drinking at 19, so I'm nearly 9 years sober, and I always felt a little bit up and down. And I went to see this very cool alternative psychologist about 2 years ago, and when I worked with him, I found out that I could somewhat sing and somewhat hold a note and somewhat play the guitar, and I think that was my sign that, you know, maybe I should give this a go. I remember quitting my job 3 weeks later, so that would have been January 2024, and somehow managed to just get loads of bookings for pubs. It just felt very natural for me, which kind of made me feel like I was on the right path, you know. And since then I started writing music. I never went to music college. I never really understood writing or anything along those lines. And I found that the songs just poured out of me. And even now I'm writing a song nearly every week, every few days. Made the decision to release my first song in January. And since then I've just had a crazy year of getting to open for amazing artists like Darren Kiely, Jack L, Jerry Fish, Skinny Living. I played my first festival this year at Greenfields. Now, it was the main stage at 3 o'clock in the day, so there was like 40 people there, but
it's still a huge thing to do.
Yeah, it was cool. It's been a strange year. I'm just trying to enjoy the wave, you know, just trying to enjoy the journey of it rather than focusing on like a particular destination or trying to reach a particular point. I'm really just trying to, you know, savor each day. You know, I have a 5-year-old son at home as well, which means that I'm off during the days. I get to spend crazy amounts of time with him, which is just amazing. I feel I'm very grateful with my life, the way it's set up. It's a very nice thing where I'm at the moment.
So you've just kind of tumbled into doing music in a way. It wasn't something that you thought about.
Did a cartwheel, fell into it, and I couldn't go back to working another job now. It would feel disingenuous to myself, and I couldn't show up for work on time at the best of times, never mind having had the much freedom that I have now, showing up for gigs and going to pubs and playing a few tunes and heading away and getting paid, you know. Who
do you look up to now when writing and performing, and how would you describe your style of music to our listeners?
My first ever album that I was starstruck by was Oh by Damien Rice. I remember being like 10 or 11, having a Walkman and going into Golden Discs on a Saturday with my pocket money and picking out an album. And that was the first album that I sat in my bed, put on the Walkman and listened straight through. And it was such a phenomenal album. The style of that was something that I always resonated with. The singer-songwriter, acoustic, folk style is kind of what I've leaned towards. Most of my songs are written on my own in my bedroom with my guitar as well. So that's kind of where they start. Obviously, like the likes of Amble are making waves at the moment in the music industry. I'm a massive fan of them. I remember coming across their music 2.5 years ago when there was 4,000 monthly listeners, and credit to them, they're fantastic now. I love connecting to an artist that has really heartfelt lyrics and they're trying to tell a story. And I suppose my own genre would be kind of that folk acoustic, maybe branching into some poppy stuff. But I'm really lucky that I'm exploring loads of different styles, and I work with an amazing producer called Keelan Kenny and Cian Sinnott, who, funnily enough, is producing for Amble as well. So I have this amazing team around me, and I experiment the whole time with different styles of music. As I said, I don't know much about music. I just fell into this, and I'm always looking to explore and engage with different styles and different instruments and different everything, you know.
And your track, Pushing 30, is one of the reasons we are chatting. Tell us a little bit about it, and is there a personal story behind it for you?
Most of my songs are written in my bedroom, and I really try to write about things that I see and things that are happening in my life. I found that it's not a particularly personal attack on anyone or anything, but I've seen like a lot of my friends when I meet up with them and we have these chats about the way things have changed going into your maybe late 20s. Some people are buying houses, some people are getting engaged. I did find a lot of pain in people I know, and I tried to maybe just make that a bit more relatable. As I said, I gave up drinking years ago, but it's almost a song that if I hadn't given up drinking and I haven't maybe tried to get on the straight and narrow a little bit, that it's a very accurate representation of how my life would have went. I was someone that didn't find meaning in anything. I was stumbling through life. I felt quite lost, and as I get towards my late 20s, and I was kind of reflecting on maybe the person I could have been and maybe the people I see around me, and it's not a judgment on anyone, it's more so just an observation. And yeah, it's a special song for me. As I said, most of these songs are written at home in a bedroom, and for them to end up being played in radio and major playlists on Apple is just it's kind of mind-boggling, but very enjoyable at the same time.
And I suppose since you stumbled into the music industry, how much have you learned since the start, and And how difficult was it for you to actually get into the music industry? Was this late, like in your 20s?
My producer, Keelan Kenny, as I said, has become one of my best friends, and he always says to me that it's really fascinating and enjoyable for him to see someone who maybe never studied this. Maybe people that sometimes go to music college may become a bit more rigid in their ideas and how the process should work. And he says I'm coming at it from a different angle of someone who just loves music and maybe, you know, a bedroom singer that's trying to write a bit of music. And things seem to be happening very organically for me in terms of opportunities. It's also a lot of work and a lot of effort. You know, like it looks great that you release a song, but there's loads of money and time and energy and effort goes into that, and planning and promoting and sending emails. And what I found is that the music industry can be quite very much like a lottery, you know, and it's luck, you know, it's hard work and it's also luck, you know, and I think it's about not being afraid of rejection as well, you know. Like I've sent hundreds of emails when I first started to promoters and festival organisers, and a lot of the time people said your stuff is amazing but you may not have the right follower count yet to really make an impact. And I think it's just about navigating rejection and just not being afraid to hear the word no, and to not let that make you feel down, and just to keep pushing on. And I think anything in life that's worthwhile is going to be difficult. And I've made amazing connections, I've made amazing friends, I've, you know, opened myself up to a new realm of a career and a new world of opportunity and possibility. And as I said, anything in life worthwhile doing is probably going to be difficult if you want to be successful. So this is the first thing I've ever done where I stuck to the thing I was going to say. You know, like I applied for the guards, I wanted to be a barista, I wanted to work in a factory, and they never felt right, where this feels right to me. And I feel like I'm channeling that energy into what I'm doing, and there's payoff with plenty of ups and downs along the way as well.
And you spoke a little bit about numbers and following. You're quite prominent on social media. Do you think that helped kickstart your career?
I'm very lucky, as I said, like I constantly reach out to managers and bookers and promoters, and again that self-belief has only come to me kind of recently, as I said, in the last like year and a half, that if I hadn't had that belief I wouldn't be doing all this extra work to put myself out there. Most managers I've met have said to me that the only way really in the music industry at the moment you're going to get noticed is a follower count, which I completely understand. That, you know, people can see social media as a tool or a hindrance, and for a long time I, you know, felt I was maybe devaluing myself as an artist, making content that's a bit more upbeat and engaging in comparison to some of the songs that I write are quite somber and reflective. You know, I've access to X amount of billion people in my pocket. Like anything in life, you can choose to see the glass as half empty or half full. I try to see it as half full. There's plenty of negative attention that comes with it. People are mean, common stuff just because they've nothing else to do. And, you know, I've tried to be myself on social media as much as possible. I've tried to, you know, make my content engaging. I've tried to give people a glimpse into, you know, who I am and what I'm about. And I think at the end of the day, people always are going to buy into the person rather than just the music, because there's so many amazing artists in Ireland at the moment, and we're all trying to do the same thing, which is we believe in the music we write and we're trying to get noticed. And social media is another tool to, you know, increase your visibility. I met another manager a few weeks ago and made the comparison that, you know, 20 years ago, if you had gotten a manager, there was no social media, you had to do flyer drops. You may get lucky to get on radio, and you may get lucky to get on, you know, a TV show or an ad, and the opportunities were quite limited. Where, you know, I'm trying to look at it, as I said, I have access to X amount of billion people in my pocket. I know myself that I believe in what I do, and there's going to be an audience that will find my music and resonate with it, and social media is just another way of, you know, promoting that.
And that's where I actually found you. One of your videos popped up on my For You page, and it was a video of you going around Cork asking people to listen to your song. What gave you the confidence to do something like that? That would scare me.
It's quite frightening. It is for myself. How many times have I been on a doom scroll, as I like to call it, and other people call it, and swiping through and I see someone with a guitar and their song might be incredible, but I think a lot of our attention spans are quite shortened with the way short form content is on social media. So I kind of just said to myself, you know, if I can't reach people on social media all the time with acoustic covers or acoustic versions of my song, I'll just go up to people in public and get their reaction there. And it is scary, and it's direct feedback from a person. It's easy to hide behind a screen and you see like follower counts or, you know, view counts go up and down and you can't get people's actual reaction. And you're leaving yourself open to criticism. But for the most part, people have been amazing and, have said to me, like, this is really, really good. How can I find you? And yeah, I suppose it's just another way of maybe looking at the algorithm that, if people, aren't maybe getting to your content straight away, or, it's people's are just scrolling past that, it's just something a bit different. And I wouldn't be able to do it if I didn't believe in the songs that I'm writing. And it's not in an arrogant way, but, I listen to my songs in the car and they still give me a great buzz to know that, I sat in my room with a guitar, I thought about how I was feeling, I wrote it down on a page, I went to a studio, I got people to come in, record the song with me, and now it's live on Spotify, or, it's been played on the radio. So you have to back yourself. Not everyone's going to like me, and I'm not going to like everyone, but, at the end of the day, life is there to be lived, and the most important thing for me is just to have fun and enjoy the journey. And I'm also lucky that the videographer I use is a very, very talented man called Nathan Daly, who's become an amazing friend of mine, who was the reason behind Keen to Crow's choir videos. I don't know if you remember them from a few years ago.
Yeah.
So he kind of knows how the system works, and he's a very talented guy, and he's after creating a new media company called What's the Scale, who are doing great work in Cork and beyond as well. So I'm ever grateful to him and all of his help and support and kindness and love and all that jazzy words.
And talking about social media, where can people find you if they are looking to stay up to date with everything, or just follow your crazy life on TikTok?
Keep it very simple. Cathal Fitz Music on Instagram, TikTok, Spotify. That's kind of where I'm hanging out at the moment, and I'm loving what I do. I'm really grateful for every opportunity I get, and I'm just, as I said, trying to ride the wave and enjoy it, and not be so stressed and not take myself and life too seriously.
And what does the future look like for you regarding music and gigs? Is there something special coming up anytime soon?
There is something very special. I'm very lucky that I kind of signed with two managers recently. One of them is kind of doing all my distribution in A&R, and I met a lovely lady again through TikTok. She lives in Glasgow, so I'm playing my first headline show in Glasgow in February next year in Nice and Sleazy's. So very scary to think about doing something like that, but judging by the year I've had, it won't be the most difficult thing I've done. Taking the big first step to change careers and back myself. And again, it's just opportunities coming along the way. So that's the next big one. And then there's a few kind of support slots scattered in now and again. And you'll find me in my local pub playing. I'm playing most nights of the week doing pub covers, which I still love. It's really nice when someone discovers me for the first time and follows me or says, I really like your stuff, I'm going to keep tabs of you. I like performing live more than anything. Social media is great, but I love performing live. Every gig I do, I genuinely try to feel it as my last gig, and I just give it everything.